guys, I'm in the wild west just north of Phoenix, Arizona, and behind me are two of the latest, quickest, fastest BMW performance SUVs, period. I have the 2020 BMW X5M and of course the BMW X6M, and there's only $3,500 separating these two. So here's a question: which high performance over 600 horsepower plus SUV is best for you? We're gonna answer that right now. As far as the powertrains are concerned, these two are identical. If you know M cars, you'll recognize this 4.4 liter twin turbo V8. If you got a regular X5M or an X6M, it would produce 600 horsepower, which is already insane. 553 pound-feet of torque. But both of these are also competition models, which means they have extra software tuning to boost the power to 617 horses, and they both have 8-speed automatics. But I'm gonna do a 0 to 60 test and see exactly how they do in the real world. Well, this is a special occasion. The local sheriff department and BMW are blocking a piece of road just for me as part of this event. Huge thanks to the sheriff's department at Maricopa. Here's the procedure: traction control disabled, which I've done. Third dynamic setting, I'm in drive, and then all sport modes enabled. And then if I slam on the brake and slam on the gas, it should hold me, and then I let it go. Let's see what I can do on this blocked highway. I don't think I did it correctly. That's 4.69.
Look, half a second less.
Okay.
And then just go ahead.
So just immediate, more immediate.
So 1, 2, let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the one. 3.82. That is nuts. It just sets you back. Luis, thank you for closing the road for us.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you guys for having us out here. Appreciate it.
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, the car sounds beautiful. Yeah.
The V8 sound?
I'm a big fan of it now.
Do you want it for your department now?
Oh yeah, they should definitely switch it to those.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.
Hey, no problem.
All right, X6M competition, real world acceleration. Yes, that's the one. The X6M hit it on the money. 3.71. That's what BMW says, and a big fat guy like me can actually get the same time. That's great. Indeed, I got a little bit quicker times in the X6M by about 1/10 than I did in the X5M. They also have two top speed settings, either a 155 mile an hour top speed, which is kind of a regular setting, and if you get the driver package, they can boost that top speed level up to 177 miles an hour. Although I don't know where you would use that. If you're taking it on the track, maybe. But this is a very big, heavy SUV. These SUVs weigh around 5,500 pounds, the way they sit. BMW X5 has been around for many, many years. And this is the third generation now of the X5M. And it's basically a full-size SUV. Okay, it's not as big as an X7 is. That's a proper 3-row. In this iteration, it's a 5-passenger. But it's great for families. Big rear door, big tall roof line, a lot of cargo capacity. Well, let me show you. up the back on the X5M. Electrically assisted tailgate. Here's our gear, 2 bags, plenty of space, plenty of height. I mean, it's more of a utility version, obviously, of this high-performance SUV, and I think it's a great thing. Let's check out the X6M. And if you think it's just an X5M with a lower roofline, there's more to that than just that. It's all about how the front end looks. It's a little bit different. The grille shape up here is a little different. The front air intakes on the sides have different cut lines, and the whole front end just is shaped a little bit lower. It's distinct but subtle. But let's look at the roofline. Of course, that's where the entire thing changes, and this car is really for maybe somebody who lives in a big city, who likes style, who likes flair. And just look at this door. You know, it's way lower than on the X5M. And let's take a look at the cargo capacity in the rear. You do have this really sexy, nice little spoiler in the back, and that's part of the competition as well. You still have a pretty deep cargo area here, but obviously if you look at the height, it's way smaller. You still have a little cargo cover, so it's all nice and neat. But you know, if you're looking for utility, you gotta choose the X5M. The rear ends on these two are drastically different. Different taillights, different tailgates. Everything is quite unique between the X5 and the X6. But let me show you the space in the back seat, because that's important for some. If you have a family, kids. In the X5M, and I'm sitting behind myself, I'm just over 6'2". Decent knee room, pretty good. Decent headroom, I can kind of stretch out and sit normally. Pretty nice. Let's look at the X6M. Yes, the door opening is lower. Huh, I'm a little surprised. I still have knee room. Okay, this seat is almost all the way back. And if I stretch out, I still have, I mean, my hair touches just a little bit, but I have okay headroom. I'm really surprised. I expected the headroom to be very limited in this one, but it's not. So maybe it's, you can have your sexy style and be functional too in the back seat. High performance machines are all about, of course, tires, wheels, brakes, suspension, and these two have it in spades. These competition models are using different style of wheel, but it's 21-inch wheel in the front, 22-inch wheel in the back, Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, basically summer high performance tires. I cannot believe BMW had us do a little bit of dirt roading and crossing water. Alright, so BMW prepared a selection of roads for us to try the X5M and X6M on, but I did not expect them to prepare river crossing, because when I was thinking about this, I thought maybe it's going to be a racetrack, something like that, a winding mountain road. Did not really expect going off-road with summer tires, but this thing is just doing it. This feels deep. This is, I'm riding on 21s in the front and 22s in the back. Jeez, this is pretty nerve-wracking.
I'm sorry, I didn't even know it came off.
So we have an accident, but lost a camera mount. The car is great, and of course the local cowboy just helped out. So, and of course this has an all-wheel drive system, which is M-specific, rear wheel biased, and it can distribute power appropriately. And here on the dirt roads in Arizona, it did that, and it can do that, of course, on a canyon twisties as well. Really quickly about the braking package on these cars. Up front are gigantic rotors, about 15.4 inches in diameter. In the back, the rotors are about almost 15 inches in diameter. really powerful brakes. They have also 2 adjustable brake pedal feeling, which you can control on the inside. Ah, yes. The interior of the X5M competition is indeed luxurious. Plenty of leather everywhere, premium materials, you got carbon fiber. This reminds you that you're in a special competition model, X5M. And but enough about luxuries. I want to talk about configurations. So down here in the center console, there's several buttons. First of all, you can control the valve of your exhaust system, making it quieter or a little bit louder. Then there's a setup button that I'll show you in a second, M mode button, and there's also 2 buttons right here in the steering wheel that you can pre-configure with your custom features, M1 and M2. Of course, pedal shifters here as well. But let's talk about the setup. There's up to 5 things you can control here and many different settings. Engine, basically throttle feel, engine response. You can be either efficient, Sport or Sport Plus. Chassis, dampers you can control as well. Finally, steering. This is basically the effort or the assist of the steering, either a little bit more direct feeling Sport, more relaxed. Finally, a new feature, which is a brake adjustment, and this began with a M8 car, and it's now in the X5M and an X6M. You can control the brake feel from comfort to sport, and I could actually tell a small difference while driving on the highway and in the canyons. And then if you disable dynamic stability control, the vehicle starts to wiggle a little, but don't worry. What it does is actually allow you to choose a sport mode on the MX Drive all-wheel drive system. And unlike the M5, you cannot disconnect the front axle. So you cannot do those drift moves or burnouts. The all-wheel drive system is always engaged, but it's rear biased. Okay, so if crossing a river in an X5M competition was strange and bizarre, doing it in an X6M is even more strange, because this is more of like a stylish coupe-like crossover that's not supposed to be doing this type of stuff, yet it does. Okie dokie. Speaking of the efficiency settings on the engine, these cars are EPA rated now at 13 city, 18 highway, and 15 combined. This is for both the X6M and the X5M, both the same. And yes, that's not great efficiency, but who cares about that efficiency when you have 617 horsepower, right? Modern luxury cars now offer you several different ways of interacting with them. This particular X5M does have massaging seats. There are buttons here on the door that you can easily push and enable massage, which is actually pretty nice. But you could also do this. Hey BMW.
Hello, what can I help you with?
Turn on my massage seat.
I'm setting the massage on the driver's seat at level 3.
How nice is that? I don't even have to push a button and still enable my massage. Ah. The differences between the X5M and the X6M continue on the inside. You might be saying, well, they should be identical, right? Well, that's not quite the case. Case in point is actually the door and the handle and the design of the controls for the windows and your rear hatch and massage. It actually has a different feeling, a little bit more sporty. There are other convenience features, obviously, such as wireless phone charging. That's nice. 12 volt, okay. Heated and cooled cup holders. Of course, you gotta have that. Ah, panoramic sunroof. Gotta have it. And we gotta talk about competition. What do these cars compete against? Well, obviously Mercedes and BMW go head to head. There's of course the GLE, AMG 63 and 63S. There's also cars like the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk, which actually starts at a slightly lower price at around $90,000 versus about $105,000 for the X5M and the X6M and also the Mercedes. And then there's a car like the Tesla Model X, which also plays in the space. It's a big SUV, and a Model X Performance can accelerate actually faster than some of these BMW and Mercedes high-performance SUVs. Okay, so performance-wise, these two are about the same, or as close as you can possibly get in the real world. But we have to talk about pricing and availability. The X5M, the regular model, if there's such a thing, starts at around 105,000 bucks. That's before destination. If you pay $3,500 more, like I told you, you can get an X6M. But then if you want the competition models you see here with blacked out grills, badging, and a little bit more horsepower, that costs about 9,000 bucks. Plus you can have a little bit more options put on these cars. And you just have to decide, do you want style of the X6M or a little bit more functionality and usability of the rear cargo area of the X5M? If it was my money, if I had 115,000 bucks, I would go X5M competition all day. And guys, go back to tflcar.com for more news, views, and real world X5 and X6M reviews.